Okay, in this tutorial we're going to create the lid for our phone safe, and then we're going to give it some textures as well. So we'll start from our G Suite for Education page. In the last tutorial I showed you a different way to get into it, but by now you should have on your G Suite for Education page, you should have SketchUp for Schools down here. So when you get to this page, you should have your file sitting right there, but otherwise you can go to Open and find where you've saved your file. So I'll open this one up. There we go. Okay, so the first thing we want to do, I'm just going to change my view a little bit. So I'm going to orbit. Just remember the keyboard shortcut is O. And what I want to find, so I'm going to do my lid. So I want to find the distance between the back of that housing there to the front and the distance from side to side from the bottom of each housing on each side here. So T for tape measure for my tape measure tool. I'm just going to zoom in close. I want to go from there. So click, keep my line red, out to the front, and I get 193 millimeters. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to make my lid a little bit longer, just so I've got something I can grab. So what I'm going to do there is I'm going to make it, I'll add another 20 millimeters to it. So I'll make it 213 millimeters. Okay, the next thing we want to measure is this distance from the bottom of that housing there across here. So that's 100 millimeters exactly. Okay. So the next thing I'll do is I'm just going to draw a rectangle down here on the flat plane. So rectangle over here, or R is the keyboard shortcut. And I'm just going to go click, drag, and I'm going to type the numbers 213, 100, enter. There's my rectangle for my lid. Now before I do too much with that, I'm going to change my view a little bit. I'm going to orbit around so I can look at it pretty much from the top. And I'm going to do a couple of little things here. I'll come in a little bit closer. I'm going to round these edges over here just so that they've got a nice rounded look on them. So I'm going to get my tape measure here. First thing I want to do, I've made this 20 millimeters too long. So I'm going to find where that 20 millimeters is. So I'm just going to go back along here so my line is red, type the number 20, press enter. I'm going to give myself some guides up the side here as well. So again, I'm going to just click there, come in so my line is green, 20, press enter. I've got to try that again, 20, press enter. And then again in from this side here. So I'll go 20, so type 20, press enter. Very good. Now I'm going to use a new tool, which is one of these arc tools here. I'm going to use a 2-point arc. So if I click here, it's this second one here that I want, 2-point arc. And I'm going to go click across to this intersection here, click, click. Click, click, click. There we go. We've now rounded the corner. The other thing I want is I'm going to make a hole in here for my finger to grab it. Okay. I need a new guide, so I'm going to go T for tape. I'm going to go back this way, and this time I'm going to go back 25. So 25, enter. And I know this was 100 wide, so I'm going to go from here into the middle, 50, enter. Now I can, here we've got our rectangle tool, but if I open that up, I've also got circle tool here, or shortcut is C. I'll just show you that. There's my C. Okay, I'm going to draw a circle. I'm going to hover over the intersection there, click, then I'm going to go out along this line here, and I'm going to go a radius of 12.5, enter. There we go. Now I'm going to just use my select tool, and I'm just going to click, like left click on there until I get these dots. So I've selected that part, and I'm just going to hit the delete button. So I've effectively made a little hole in my lid. Then P for push pull, hover over, I've got the dots again, left click, I'm going to come up and type the number 3, enter. All right, let's just go out a little bit and we'll orbit. Okay, so there is a lid. Now, before we get too carried away with anything, what have we got to remember to do? We've got to remember to make it a component. So there's my marquee selection. Right click, make component, lid. Okay, so there's my lid. Now we've got a lot of guides here, so again we can go in here and go delete guides, and we get rid of all of the guides. Alright, now we can move on to something that's a little bit of fun. This is obviously made out of wood, so how about we make it look like it is actually made out of wood. So let's orbit around a little bit. We'll get maybe that view there. I'll just click away so that's not selected. Now over here we're going to start using some of these menus over here. So if we open this one out, this is the materials menu, and here's some standard materials that are coming up, but there's actually quite a few in here. So if we go to click on the browse button, you'll see all these different sorts of materials can start to appear here. So we'll go all the way down to the bottom to wood. You have a bit of a limited selection here, but maybe this one here looks the best. So we'll select this one. I'm just going to pan across a little bit actually. So again, pan is, I can use orbit and then press the shift button to pan across. We'll select our wood here. All right, we've got that. O for orbit. Just going to do our base. Now our base is made from medium density fiberboard, and I don't really think I've got anything here that might look like that. So I might go through this and look at some synthetic surfaces. No, they don't look too good. Look, let's try this one and see. No, that doesn't look realistic. What else can we look at? Let's have a look at 3D printing. What's in here? Might try this one. That looks a bit more like it. I'll just orbit around so we can have a bit of a look here. Yeah, that looks more realistic. Okay, now our lid is made from something that is clear or sort of clear. So let's go through here and look at glass and mirrors. And there is actually a pretty good one here. I quite like this one. This is like clear, but it's got a sky reflection in it. But you don't really see much, but it does work quite well. So let's try that on here. There we go, we've got our clear lid. Okay, we'll close this here. Okay, so the final thing we need to do is we need to get our lid in place. So again, what I'll do, I'll go to my X-ray view so I can see some of this internal geometry. Go to select, and I want to, as I said in the last video, whenever we move anything, we move a known point to a known point. So if I go in really close here, let's have a look. If I selected maybe that corner there, I know that it's got to go in to, oh, actually this one could be a little bit tricky to be honest, because, yeah, I know how I'm going to do it. I'll show you how I'm going to do this one. It is a little bit tricky, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this in two parts. I'm going to move that back corner to that corner there, and then I'm going to move it sideways across. Now, if I do use my tape measure, remember our mitre is, sorry, not our mitre, our housing is 5 millimeters deep. All right, so we'll select this, M for move. I'm going to select that back corner, so that's what I got grabbed. Now we'll go in really close here, and we're going to go to that point there. So we've got that in place. Now what we're going to do is, again, I'll just orbit change the view a little bit. So if I use my tape measure, I can actually show you this to illustrate my point. I'm going to turn my X-ray off. So I've got our X-ray turned off. If I go in really close here and use my tape measure, T, and measure from the edge of there to there, it's 5 millimeters. So now I'm going to go back out, M for move. In this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just hover over the top here, left click, then I'm going to move it, making sure that line stays green. And it doesn't matter how far I move it in that direction, as long as that line is green. And then I'm just going to type the number 5, enter. And you can see now, I'm just going to click away from it. You can see now the lid is in the perfect location. It's perfectly in there. O for orbit. We'll come over here and you can see it over there as well. All right, so our lid is in place. So that's all we're going to do for this tutorial. The next tutorial, I'm going to show you how you can actually put your stickers on it. Now, let's just remember, up here we've got to save it. So we'll go save. And it remembers where you saved it. So it's saved in exactly the same place. So it's saving. There we go. That's the name of the file. So just remember it's called Phone Safe with your surname. See you next tutorial.